Oh goodness, it's rained and poured and the sun actually came out for a minute. It's been quite a mixed bag of weather here in Ontario today. Now obviously many of you saw that we qualified at least one horse today. You may not have saw that we qualified two. We definitely qualified one today. I had done this video already. I got interrupted, I hit the wrong button, and I went back and looked at it. I'll do that sometimes just to make sure I didn't misspeak or say something wrong, and it seemed like I was a little angry. It seemed like I was a little venomous today, and I don't really know why. Well, I do know why. Somebody said to me the other day, Anthony, you look tired. I am tired. I'll tell you, it's not that I'm tired. I'm physically just fatigued, and it's more mental than anything else. Many of you guys that have been with us for a long time know that I lead a pretty chaotic schedule, especially in the summer, and I don't mind it. I know that Jason has the horses ready to go in Ohio. I just have to be there at a certain time and drive the horses. Or if we're going to train horses, I have to be there at a certain time to train. The Ontario horses are in good hands here with Mario and Harry and Kevin. There's always that, do I go to Pennsylvania? Should I go to Pennsylvania? This year it's a little different because of the border. I can't get to Ohio now. I was told yesterday that Terry Stetrick couldn't go and drive the horses. So immediately I said, I'll go drive them then. I can't. I'm trying to get these 2-year-olds in or prepped or figure out where they belong, when they should leave, where they should go. There's just so much going on right now that usually doesn't. The Indiana horses would have raced by now and been in. Fox Valley Britsko was supposed to be in on Thursday. He got cast in the stall and cut his leg. Little cut on his leg, no big deal, but he can't race. Can't race him 2 days later. So he had to take him out and put Northern Blizzard in. Northern Blizzard trained good. Is he ready to go? Yeah, I believe so. But we're going to find out Friday. I'm just going to take him back and may as well put James on him. That's what I should do. It's just everything is... You know what it feels like? It feels like I'm standing right... You remember when in Twister, the tornado, right in the eye of the tornado? In there, it's sunny and nothing's moving. Seems fine. And you look around, you can see everything spinning. It seems like I'm right in the eye of a tornado. Now this will dissipate. We'll get all of our horses out to Ohio. We'll get our horses to Indiana or close enough to race them in Indiana. We don't have much for New York right now. We got Broadway Roll. Looks like a Excelsior filly. Maybe have a little fun with her. If she leaves or she doesn't, it doesn't really matter at this point. She's going to make it. We have the good colt, right? We have Lincoln Hanover. He's clearly shown he's got some pop. He'll likely be a stake colt. So my next question is, where does he go? I talked to John Bootenshane today. Now I think this is what triggered a little bit of anger. I had some emails from people over the last week. And before I say anything, let me be as clear as I can. I appreciate your emails, even if they're blunt and a little bit rude sometimes, because it's hard to tell, right? You write an email, you hit send, and then somebody will reply to you like, geez, I didn't mean it like that. So I try to take everybody's email with a grain of salt. Say, maybe they didn't mean it like that. Maybe they did, but maybe they didn't. So anytime a horse doesn't qualify good or race good to where we think they should, where you think the horse should, then obviously there's going to be that opportunity and that chance for somebody to fire off an email that maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe they didn't want to. And maybe they regret sending it. I learned a long time ago, you probably shouldn't send emails out when you're angry. It's not a wise thing to do. Eventually you're going to say something you didn't mean or say something to the wrong person, and that stuff doesn't really happen. And if I get an email from somebody that's a little starchy, so to speak, I will I'll disregard it, or I'll write back something that is a little more polite, and I don't mind stuff like that. But often we'll get emails that are very informative and very helpful also from our clients. I mean, that's a great thing about having so many clients, is you always have people that are on the up and up, right? That are upbeat, happy, and this happened with Sunshine's Finest the other day. I sent her an email saying he can't do in that class. We're gonna have to put him in a claimer. Did I look around? Did I look in Illinois, Indiana, New York, everywhere to see if there was a better class for Sunshine's Finest because we have trainers everywhere. No, I didn't. I looked at what we had in Ontario and said, okay, we sent him to Ohio, he did okay, but there's not much in Ohio other than a condition claimer. Virgil told me that, so Ohio's out. What do we got? I didn't get a chance to do that, and luckily one of our clients, one of our partners on Sunshine's Finest, Greg, sent me a message and said, hey, I know, you're busy or whatever. There's a couple of classes that horse fits in the Meadows. Now, we could just dump him in a claimer. If he was mine, I might just do that. But, we've been through a lot with Sunshine's Finest, and, he means a lot to a lot of people in the group, and I think we owe it to him to give the horse a chance. If he fits these two classes in Pennsylvania, and he may not be able to do in there, but if he can, 6 to 8 weeks of racing for him right there before we have to reclassify him, and it may be a fruitful voyage for him. Might be a wise thing to do. So we drew the blood on Sunshine's Finest. He didn't get in Saturday at the Meadows. They draw tomorrow for Mohawk. Do we look for a class Mohawk this weekend with the intent of going to Pennsylvania? That's a possibility. Only problem was he was supposed to be on the truck to go to the Meadows, I think tomorrow or Thursday. So I'm going to have to call Doyle and tell them, hey, do we have another truck going? We slide them on. They must get really mad at me this time of year, especially this year, because everything's such a shit show. And then Arctic Force. I sent an email out, message out last night to our clients, my partners on Arctic Force, and said, hey, we're going to the Excelsior Series in Tioga, which is the exact opposite of what I said a month ago. I don't want to go to the Tioga. I don't want to go to the Excelsior and race for 15 grand American. We can race for just as much here. All of this is true. At that time, I didn't believe that they were going to go in 51 and have North American Cup preppers in the non-winners of 2 or 15,000. I just didn't see that happening. So rather than throw the horse to the wolves and say, we'll just enter him again and hope it doesn't go fast again, like an idiot. No, I'm going to race him where I know he probably can do. I took that colt to Mohawk yesterday by himself at 9 o'clock in the morning and trained him 2 trips. First trip in 2:35, second trip in 1:52 and 3 by himself. That's what I did with Arctic Force. So 1:52 and 3 training trip isn't, 1, going to tighten him up, and 2, ensure that he likely, with a decent drive, gets to the winner's circle in Excelsior. Racing is even tougher than I thought it was 5 minutes ago. So I talked to Mark last night. He's going to drive Arctic Force. I sent the horse to Jeff Byron. I've raced horses against and for Jeff Byron when he was here. He's a good horseman. He's a good guy. He's got a good stable in Tioga. Perfect timing. Send him there. If he can do, great. If he can't, send him home. If you can do, go to the next one. Win that one too. Win them all. Great. But you got to get the horses where they can do, and I know there's going to be people out there there might be people out there that say, well, he trained him in 52. Why don't we try him in the Sire Stakes? Absolutely not. I talked to Mark last night for half an hour. He said, he'll probably do in the Excelsior. He said, but for the love of God, don't think you're going to roll him into the Sire Stakes. He goes, I have one that went in 48, I think, 49. He said, Groovy Joe, Blake's horse, the cigar horse that won the final last year. He said, those horses are all ready to go. He said, don't do that. I said, no, I'm not. I have no intention of it. So Arctic Force is going to Excelsior. Sunshine's Finest is going to Tim. Does he go Thursday or Friday, or is he going the first of the week? I don't know yet, but he's going. Stonebridge Simba raced great today. I just got done watching him race a couple hours ago on my phone. As I was standing outside in the rain at the vet clinic, we took some horses up to the vet today to make sure they were all right. They all got a clean bill of health. A couple of those horses, Frilly Fringes, gonna have to send a note out. She said, her knees are still open and bugging her a little bit. Her feet are a little bit sore. She goes, just baby stuff in July. She goes, we can patch her up. No, Frilly Fringes isn't a patch-up job. This is a filly that I thought was one of her nicest fillies. If she's hurting and she needs time, she's going to get time. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to kick her out in the field. It's the only fair thing to do. Won My Heart Hanover. Her knees were closed up. A little vet work on her. We're going to race her next week. Who else was there? Rito Sunshine. There's a little aches and pains. We'll probably qualify him and make a decision with him. But he's close to being on the list, the same as the other horses. Where are these horses that are these stable horses? Are these horses that we need at the stable? Are they going to be bricks in the bricks and mortar of the stable.ca? I don't know. They're going to have to answer that. Need 2 more up. Who was up? The Good Colt was up here. No free lunch. He's all right, hind ankles. We did a little work on his hind ankles. She said his knees were fine. I thought his knees were bothering him. Not bothering him, but just cold stuff. No, he was perfectly fine. Blue Monk, same thing, not a whole lot. Did his knees, he was okay. And his, I think his hocks also. So nothing glaring, just baby stuff on Rito Sunshine. And Frilly Fringes made the decision right there and there with the veterinarian. Don't bother doing any work on her. I'm going to kick her out in the field. So Frilly is going to be out in the field for a little while. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. I mean, if we're going to do what's right for the horse, we're doing what's right for ourselves in the long run. So there's no debate or argument. It's just what needs to be done. We looked at, as I said, we entered 6 babies this week. Mama Knows Best tonight drew somewhere in the middle, I think. Then we entered 5 other babies in 2 countries at 5 facilities. GW Chrome drew the outside, first lifetime start. Italian Grit drew the outside, 8-hole, half-mile track, first lifetime start. My Jazz, Northfield, 8-hole, tomorrow, outside, half-mile track. Northern Blizzard, 9-hole, 9-horse field at Mohawk. And Sweet Ambitions, you guessed it, 8-hole in Grand River in an 8-horse, or 9-horse, doesn't matter how big the field is, that's the outside post. 5 8-holes, 5 outside posts. 4 of those are open draws, by the way. There's only one of those races is a 2-year-old race, and that's Northern Blizzard. He drew a 9-hole in a 2-year-old event. All other 4 had to race against open draws, so 3 and 4-year-olds potentially, which is ludicrous. But it's just the way it is. We're trying to get a race into them. So that's frustrating. Then put the horses in Ohio. Jason calls me. 2 problems. First problem is a thunderstorm rolled through, globetrotting tied up just a little bit. He said, knocked the lights out. He said there was water all over the place. He said it must have been raining so bad. A couple of horses were a little goofy. He said, we took her blood. She tied up a little bit. She'll be fine for the weekend. Okay, good. Second bad news, Trace Teacher can't make it. Normally I would just say, well, I would have been there to begin with. Normally I would just say, hey, I'll go drive them. Can't get back across the border. Have to quarantine in Canada. Got babies to go with here, got horses to train, got things to do before I head out. I simply can't go. Ryan Stahl's done a great job for us. Of all the American drivers that we've listed on our horses, truthfully speaking, Ryan Stahl has done as good or better than anybody. List Ryan Stahl. So that's who's driving them. Okay, we wait for the draw. 3 7-horse divisions. Okay, good. What else? 3 6-holes. Excuse me? 3 6-holes. We got 3 6-holes in 3 divisions of 7-horse fields. So that's quite the draw we had this week. Simba drew 7 today also, I noticed. It's getting a little frustrating. So you can see why I might have been a little frustrated with the earlier video. Just angry, to be honest. I mean, not walking around, with a goatee and a black trench coat angry. Not that angry, not yet. Just a little pissed off is all. So I had a couple of drinks of some coffee and coffee, had a latte. And I'm better now. And then I need to keep reiterating to people, West 52nd, a little tricky. Great thing is he's better than he's ever been his entire life right now. Fantastic. Bad news is they keep putting him over his head. The number is a 6. Now we entered him in 3 different classes today. Hopefully that'll give him a little reprieve. The horse fits a class below that. And if you really want to be nice, he fits 2 classes below that. But they keep throwing him to the wolves, and it's getting a little frustrating. He's going to be Indigo this weekend. Jonathan Drury's done a great job with him. He'll continue to do a great job with him. And people have asked, okay, when is White Tiger? White Tiger will be ready. I told you to be ready, which is the first part of July. Maybe the second week of July. He trained in 2.5 the other day. He trained good. Oso Pine trained good. And I'm going to train them both again. 2.4, 2.5. And then Oso Pine's going to go up to the vet because he had a number of little issues that were bothering him when we turned him out and gave him lots of time in the field. I want to bring him back in. Or we brought him back in. I want to bring him up to the veterinarian and say, I want you to look at the spots that were bothering him for. Make sure they're 100% before we start asking him for quarters and 28 in a piece, 27 in a piece. That's when things get dicey. So 2.5 will be fine. We'll train him in White Tiger this week in 2.5. Cavill Hanover, probably train him in 56. He's pretty near ready to go. I talked to Carmen extensively about where we're going to race him, how we're going to race him, when we're going to race him. He said he thinks there's a hole in his barn for him. a spot for him. So I suspect we'll probably qualify Cavill Hanover, not this week, the next week. I won't be here. James will go with him. And then Carmen can take him after the qualifier. Yes, jogging good, looking good. He's not going to be ready for a while. We're not even going to start training him until end of July, probably. Brave World, 2nd and 52 last week. He'll be back in to go this week, or he's in to go tonight in Georgian Downs, and then he's going to race at Mohawk next week. And then Knockdown Dragout, obviously. I sent her over to Richard Moreau's. Why? Because she is a frustrating animal. That's why. I did everything I could to get her right. I thought we had her trained down good. She was definitely in great shape from Aki. But get her to the track and that switch goes off. And whether it's me, whether it's the barn, you know, maybe she's a bigger training center where things are always going on. Maybe she's a little on edge. Richard has a nice gated farm, his own farm. Everything's quiet. The horses all jog on the gate in the morning. They jog them all on a giant gate. So maybe that's what she needs. I don't know, but I know what she doesn't need is to be around me. So knockdowns over Richards, and I hope to God that she comes around, because if she doesn't, it will be a colossal waste of talent. Very, very talented filly. Very, very nice filly. But this is it, right? If you don't want to put in the work and you don't want to have the right mindset and work ethic moving forward, then it makes it hard for you to really become the horse that you should be. And that's where Knockdown Dragon is. So a little update on everything going on. We have a lot of horses racing tonight. Stonebridge Shimba already raced, finished third, beat a length and a half and 56 in the pouring rain. I thought he looked good. Sunshine's Finest is going to be on his way to Pennsylvania within the next week. West 52nd will be racing this week. White Tiger and Oso Pine. White Tiger's probably a couple weeks ahead of Oso Pine, even though they're going the same speed. Oso Pine's going to need a few more training trips. White Tiger will probably train him back again. Him and Pine in 2.425. Then I'll come back in probably 59 or 2 minutes with White Tiger, whereas Oso Pine will probably hang out around 2.2, 2.3 for a week or so. And then, yes, won't start training till the end of July. Brave World is racing tonight, and Knockdown Dragout whenever Richard gets around to it. And what about our girl, Spirit of Dio, this morning? I think this might have played a role, too. I had somebody message me about, you know, why were the horse from Florida? This filly, you should have had her, and which frustrates me because, you know, John's a world-class trainer. I've been there. You know, I've seen where, you know, you can't get horses to go quite as good, and then you'll see them go to another place and they go forward, and all of a sudden, I'll tell you what, this game will make you feel like an absolute idiot like that. And in the next instance, you're on top of the world again. And it's that roller coaster is great when you're at the top, but it really sucks when you're at the bottom. And John's a fantastic trainer. Just this is a very tricky, very finicky filly, but the speed's there. It's always been there. And the one thing people have to recognize, as I said earlier, John Boutonchain had her in incredible shape. She looks absolutely statuesque. She looks amazing, and just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful filly. Did it all, and she never trained good on the front, really good by herself, ever, and did all the work herself today. Whacked out the first quarter up by 3, 4, 5, 6, drove away from them, finished off her mile strong. She just looks like $1 million. John Boutonchain has done a great job with her. So, you know, we're certainly not done with John Boutonchain. We have the New York Colt. Fortunately, we don't have a ton for Pennsylvania right now, but we do have a couple of 3-year-old fillies that might end up in Pennsylvania, and also Lincoln Hanover. John does a lot of drag racing in New York also, so we'll see. A ton of stuff still up in the air, but man, oh man, it was great. You know, somebody said to me the other day, you know, you're in a bit of a funk yourself. And that was going to happen, right? When you drive long shots, you're going to have a low average at that particular moment. In that juncture, in that number set, where you race horses that are long shots, your driving average is not going to be great. That's just the way it is. So, you know, racing horse like GW Chrome, his first lifetime starter, or trying to race horses over at Mohawks, sure. You know, that plays on one another too. When you go on the track, when you're not on the top of your game, you're not sharp as attack, it shows up too. But I think mostly, you know, we're into a better position right now where we're racing some better horses. Some of the horses that aren't doing good will be leaving at some point, right? We sold Rose Run Versatile today to Indiana. If they can't win, they got to go. 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, we're compiling a list of horses right now that fit that. Rosa and Versatile might be the first, but she will not be the last one gone in the next 3 weeks. And, you know, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. You guys know what's going on here. If these horses, as I said, if you look at the stable as a bricks and mortar operation, the bricks being the horses, some of the horses that are there right now don't fit, right? They're not bricks. At least they're not nice square ones. So it's just a matter of recognizing who isn't going to fit into our grand scheme and finding a place for them somewhere else. So the good news is there's always somebody this time of year looking for a horse to race, right? Looking for a smaller barn, looking for some fun to have in the summer, and we'll be happy to supply that also. So as I said, I did this video earlier, but I was a little on edge over it. Just a number of things going on, and it's certainly nobody's fault. Just frustrating times right now, and just a whole lot of stuff that just went on the first of the week, and now it's starting to settle out, right? We got the filly sold, we got Spirit of Dio. You know, don't think for a second there wasn't a lot of pressure on me going out there today. She's only been here 5 or 6 days, but you know, I wanted her to look good this morning. I wanted her to be the Spirit of Dio we needed her to be. Unfortunately, she didn't make the New Jersey Sire Stakes, but there's lots of racing left for her. What else? You know what? I want to focus on the good things. So Spirit of Dio is a great thing for today. Stonebridge Simba raced good. We got a number of horses racing tonight. Path of Totality scratched. She had a big pus pocket bust out of her foot. Not a big deal. We will have her ready to go next week. So that's it. That's kind of a midweek video. We got qualifiers coming up Thursday, Friday. We got babies racing Thursday, Friday. A lot going on this week. This week is going to be the last week I'm probably in Canada for a little bit. That's weighing on me too, right? I feel bad leaving Amy here with 3 kids. They can fly to the U.S., which might happen. I was looking at renting somewhere, but it's just still difficult. So just added stuff, right? That normal chaos I'm used to, that zone has expanded now, and I think that's the frustrating part. So I appreciate all the emails and all the comments. Keep them coming, good or bad. I get thick skin, and we will hopefully have some good luck tonight with Beach Boutique, Enduring Strength. Who else? Brave World. Do we have anything else in? I know I'm forgetting somebody. Anyway, lots going on tonight, lots going on for the rest of the week. Can't wait to get to it. Monday was a little bit hard on me and hard on the stable, but Tuesday's a new day. Talk to you guys soon. Bring your umbrella if you live in Ontario. What a crazy day here in Ontario. Take care.